Do I need a survey to buy a house? There's lots of little expenses when you're buying a house, and they definitely start to add up. One of the things that people want to know is, do I really need to spend the money on a survey when I'm buying a house? The average cost for a survey on a typical size lot in the Cary area is $450. It's a lot of money. In today's video, I'm going to tell you why you absolutely do need to get a survey, some really scary things that can happen to you if you don't, with real stories that I have seen happen to my buyers, and why you definitely need a survey even if you're buying new construction. So stick around, we're going to talk about it right now. So today we're going to talk about surveys. I actually had a recent transaction that was really interesting. Something happened with the survey that I think is really important to share with you all. So I was the buyer's agent, and these buyers did, at my recommendation, get a survey, and I'm so glad that they did. So the survey actually uncovered 3 different encroachments on the property. It wasn't actually the boundary line that it was crossing over, it was the setback. So there was a 25-foot setback, and the deck was 1.5 feet past where it was allowed to be based on where the setback was. The fence was also encroaching on the setback. It was 5 foot over the setback. And the third thing was the house. The house was actually encroaching by 1.5 feet on the setback. The house was supposed to be located 25 feet from the property line, and it was only 23.5 feet from the property line. So this really could have gone really badly. It ended up going very, very well, and that's because a lot of things went in our favor that we had no control over, but we were very fortunate that they did go in our favor. First of all, there was a private homeowners association. That could have been a bad thing. In our case, it worked in our favor. So in our case, they were very quick to respond, and they responded right away and were willing to sign a document saying that they gave us an exception to the encroachment, which was great. But it could have gone badly, right? Because think about it. If this property, or if the president of the HOA who was making this decision, say he didn't have a good relationship with this homeowner, if he didn't like the homeowner because the homeowner had always, parked his car on his grass or something like that, and it irritated him, he might have just said, you know what, we're not going to give you an exception. We don't want to make this easy for you. In that case, he would have been trying to hurt the seller, but in the same process, it would have really hurt my buyer. My buyer would not have wanted to proceed to closing with a property that had the house encroaching on the property, and somebody had the power to tell him to move his house 1.5 feet. They wouldn't have wanted to close on a property like that, but they had already put thousands of dollars into all of the inspections and deposits and things like this. So a situation that we had no control over could have gone very badly. Fortunately, it did not. Another way that it could have gone down, it could have been a large corporation that managed the homeowners association. In that case, they could have taken a long time to respond to our request. No large corporation is going to sign a legal document waiving their right to the encroachment if they haven't spoken with their attorneys. That could have taken time and money, and in a real estate transaction, you generally don't have a lot of time because these contracts are time sensitive, and if you don't close within a certain time, you lose your right to close. So it was very, and this, of course, this came up right at the end. It took a long time to get the survey, so we were out of time. So fortunately, it all ended well, but the real question here is, how did the house end up encroaching on the setback in the first place? This is what happened. So the sellers of the home purchased it back in the 90s when it was new construction. They were the only owners that had ever owned the property. Usually when you buy a new construction home, the builder will give you a lot survey. The lot survey is done before the house is actually sitting on the property. So it doesn't tell you about any encroachments, it just tells you where the property lines are. A lot of people, when they buy new construction, they really want to cut costs, and they trust the builder, and they don't want to pay for a survey because, again, it's expensive, and a survey was just done. Why do I need to do it? This is a great reason why. once the house is set on the lot, if you do a survey after that, you can discover if it is encroaching on any setbacks or property lines. So you always do a survey, whether you're buying new construction or existing home, you always do a survey. So I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to click the link to subscribe. Have a great day.